Warm welcome and back again to the class of biology. We've started the animal kingdom, and in the previous class we talked about the animal construction or the characteristics for the basis of classification, right? So we talked about the symmetry, we talked about the germ layers, etc., right? So now we know one thing, that animal kingdom, all multicellular organisms we will talk about, and we know that the outermost covering layer of the cell is the cell membrane, and the animal cell lacks cell wall, and then there are no plastids present, no chloroplast, right, and centrioles are present in the animal cell, right. And then we discussed certain terms related to habitat also in the previous class. So keeping that in mind, and whatever terms we discussed for the basis of classification, like diploblastic, triploblastic, right, blind sac like, tube in tube, right. So all these terms will be used now when we talk about the classification, right. So starting with the invertebrates or the organisms which do not have a vertebral column, we start with phylum Porifera, right. So the first phylum that we will talk about is phylum Porifera. Now phylum Porifera derives, the word Porifera derives from a Greek word poros. It's a Greek word, poros. The word poros means having pores, right, pores. And the other word fera, it is derived from a Greek word fere, right, and this word fere means to bear. That means to bear pores, right. So that means now these organisms, the organisms that belong to phylum Porifera, they bear pores on their body, right. So these include sedentary aquatic animals. Sedentary means they do not move around, right. They are commonly known as sponges, right. So they are commonly known as sponges, right. So there are around 5,000 species which are known, and they are distinct from protozoans in having a cellular grade of organization. If you remember talking about phylum Protozoa, the protozoans or amoeba, they are the organisms which are unicellular, right. Unicellular means made up of one cell, right. And here when we talk about Porifera, they are made up of more than one cell, and they show cellular grade of organization, right. A bit more modified, these organisms are a bit more modified structurally as compared to phylum Protozoa, right. So they are mostly marine forms, right, and they remain, I told you they are sedentary, right. So they remain attached, so they remain attached to a few rocks, and some of them may be freshwater poriferans, right. So they are mostly marine, right. They are sedentary. Sedentary means they are attached to certain structure. Sedentary is either attached to certain objects, some structures like rocks, or maybe another organism also, right. So they have a sedentary lifestyle. They are sessile, solitary, or colonial, right. So they may be living alone, or they may be colonial also, right. So let's say that they are solitary, or they may be colonial, also living in colonies, right. If you remember when we said colonial, that means they live in colonies, they help each other, and they have a good social life, they exhibit a good social life, right. Then of course they are multicellular, right, made up of more than one cell. So obviously they are multicellular, Then we came across related to the word coelom, right? Coelom is the body cavity, but the poriferans are acoelomate. Acoelomate means they do not have coelom present, right? No body cavity, right? So they have a cellular level of organization and they are acoelomate, right? So we'll write here cellular level of organization, right? All these are the things that we studied yesterday, right? So they are acoelomate. Body is vase shaped, right? So if you will look at the organism, the body is something like this, right? So it looks like a vase, right? So we say that the body is vase shaped. VASE, vase shaped, right? Vase are where the flowers are kept, right? So when you pluck flowers from the garden, you keep it in a flower vase, right? That's the vase, right? So they're cylindrical, cushion shaped, they're asymmetric. Asymmetric, right? You remember we talked about the symmetry of an organism, right? So generally they are asymmetric. A few may show radial symmetry, right? Now I am not going to explain the terms radial symmetry, biradial symmetry, etc., right? Because that we've already discussed in the previous class, and you can refer the video of the previous class, right? So they are asymmetric. Some show radial symmetry. Then they are diploblastic. Diploblastic, having two germ layers, right? So they are diploblastic. As the name suggests, bearing pores. So all over the body they bear pores, right? And the pores are here known as ostia, right? The pores are known as ostia. They are present all over, pores throughout the body, and they may have one or more large pores, right, at the anterior end, right? One large pore. So suppose this is the anterior end, so that large pore is known as osculum, right? So they bear pores known as ostia and one large pore, that is osculum, right? They show a canal system of organization. There is a canal inside, right, through which the water current flows, and it carries food and oxygen also, right? Skeleton is made up of they have calcareous skeleton or siliceous skeleton. Digestion of the food is intracellular, inside the cell. Respiratory, circulatory, excretory systems are all absent, right? Nervous system is very poorly developed, right? So it is present but very, very poorly developed. Then they are hermaphrodites. They are hermaphrodites bearing both the sexual organs on one body, right? So they are hermaphrodite, and they have high capability of regeneration, right? So if they are broken or cut, they can regenerate. So high degree of regeneration, right? So examples of porifera are Cycon, Euplectella. These are the examples, and many more. Cycon, Euplectella, etc., right? So these are, I'm just writing two examples here, right? So that's phylum Porifera. And now we move on to the next phylum after phylum Porifera is phylum Coelenterata. Coelenterata. So we move on to the next one. Phylum Coelenterata. said phylum Coelenterata is also known as phylum Cnidaria, right? So Cnidaria, Cnidaria, where the word, the alphabet C is silent when you pronounce it, right? So it's Cnidaria of phylum Coelenterata. It includes tentacle bearing aquatic organisms, right? So what does it include? It includes all tentacle bearing aquatic organisms, acoelomate, right? So they bear tentacles, they acoelomate, they show diploblastic germ layers, 2 germ layers, they are diploblastic, and they show radial symmetry. They show radial symmetry. Other than that, they have a tissue level of organization. That means cells performing similar functions are grouped into one to form tissues, right? So tissues carry out some or the other function. So they are tentacle bearing, that means they bear tentacles. They are aquatic organisms found in water. They are acoelomate, that means coelom is not found. Then they are diploblastic, bearing 2 germ layers, the ectoderm and the endoderm. They show radial symmetry, that means from whichever plane they are cut, if that plane passes through the central axis, then the body can be divided into 2 mirror images, right? Then tissue level of organization I just explained, right? So members are mostly marine, right? They are sessile or free living, free swimming also, right? So adult stage generally shows radial symmetry, right? So radial symmetry in the adult stage is observed, right? Tissue level of organization. Then a presence of a single body cavity is there, which is known as coelenteron. From there the name Coelenterata, right? So they possess a single body cavity, which is known as coelenteron, right? From here only the name Coelenterata is there, right? So coelenteron is the body cavity that they have. This is also, coelenteron is also the gastrovascular cavity, right? So a cavity that is related to digestion, right? So and they exhibit a blind sac body plan, right? Blind sac body plan, very interesting. Blind sac body plan. What is so interesting about this? The blind sac body plan is that they have only a single opening, right? Through that opening the food comes inside the body, that means ingestion takes place, and through that same opening egestion also takes place, right? So unwanted waste of the digestive system is also thrown out of the body through the same opening, right? So that's interesting. Just think about it, like if we have an opening like this, how would it be, right? So that is why I said that this is an interesting point here. So blind sac body plan. Then again they have, like I told you, they are tentacle bearing, right? Tentacle bearing means they have many finger like tentacles, finger like projections, which are known as tentacles, right? Then again they are carnivorous, right? And they feed on living prey by means of unique stinging cells, right? So they bear stinging cells also, and these stinging cells are known as nematoblasts, right? What are these nematoblasts? These are stinging cells cells, right? So what do? Is whenever they see their prey, they use these nematoblast stinging cells to sting the prey, right? Just think of a bee stinging a person, right? How painful it becomes, right? So probably their prey gets paralyzed and they eat the prey, right? Digestion is both intracellular and extracellular also. So nematocysts are the stinging cells, nematoblasts, nematocysts that are present as a defense system, right? Nervous system is present, which is very, very simple, and it forms a diffuse network all over the body, diffuse network. Vascular, excretory and respiratory systems are absent in them. They are devoid of skeleton, and some secrete coral or of lime or a horny material, right? But as such, they are devoid of skeleton, right? There are some members which exhibit polymorphism, different forms, right? To a remarkable extent, they show polymorphism. Reproduction is asexual by fission, by budding, and sexual reproduction also takes place by gamete formation, right? Solitary they're colonial also, they're free swimming. That is what we discussed. And when I told you that they exhibit some level of polymorphism. Polymorphism means having different forms or shapes of the body, right? So there are two, we can say, phases that they represent by different shapes, and the two phases are polyp and medusa, right? Now polyp and medusa, now if we look at these two stages, right, it says here polyp is free or attached, representing the asexual phase of their life, and medusa represents the sexual phase of life. So polyp asexual and medusa is the sexual phase of life, right? The polyp form is tube like in appearance, right? The polyp form, the structure is tube like. That is the polyp structure, right? Whereas medusa, if you look at medusa, they show an umbrella like appearance, right? So that is the medusa. This is actually Physalia, which is also known as Portuguese man of war, right? So these are the two different shapes, polymorphism, right? They show different shapes over here, right? So polyp and medusa. Now if you talk about the examples, then hydra is one example, right? It is a coelant trait. Obelia, Physalia, right? So these are the examples of phylum Coelenterata. Now we move on to the next phylum, and we will talk about phylum Ctenophora, right? Phylum Ctenophora, and again here Ctenophora, when I say, it is spelled again with C, right? So where C is silent when we pronounce the word or the term, or let's say the name. So it's phylum Ctenophora. C would be there as it is, T-E-N-O, Ctenophora, right? So that's the third phylum that we're talking about. It is a very small group of marine animals, right? So it's a small group of marine animals, that means they're found in sea, and they are commonly known as comb jellies, right? Commonly they are known as comb jellies. So comb like structures they possess. That is why comb jellies, they are also known as sea walnuts, right? The shape of a walnut found in the sea, right? Since they are marine, so they are sea walnuts. Earlier they were included in the phylum Coelenterata, but since they lack nematocysts, right, or those stinging cells like the coelentrates have, so now they are placed in another group which is known as Ctenophora, right. So they are exclusively marine, they are solitary, they are free swimming, right, and they possess cell tissue grade of organization, right. So cell and tissue grade of organization, they are diploblastic, cell tissue grade of organization. Then they are diploblastic, having 2 germ layers, right. Digestion is both extracellular and intercellular, and the digestive system, it consists of a mouth, a stomatium and a system of gastrovascular canals, right. They have no special organs for excretion, respiration and circulation. They are bisexual organisms, and fertilization is external with indirect development, right. So bisexual, another thing, they are bisexual, right. Then one very interesting characteristic that we find in Ctenophora is that they show bioluminescence, right. So they exhibit bioluminescence. What is bioluminescence? When we use the word bio, that means living. Luminescence is related to light, right. So they have the property of a living organism to emit light, right. So bioluminescence is well marked, that means they emit light, right. So again here Bareo is one example, right, that is Bareo is one example. Ctenoplana is another example of phylum Ctenophora, right. Now we move on to the next phylum, now we will talk about a few worm like, those wriggling structures, right. So we move on to the next phylum, and that is phylum Platyhelminths. Phylum Platyhelminths. Right, now phylum Platyhelminths includes triploblastic. Up till now we were talking about the organism being diploblastic. Here they are triploblastic, having 3 germ layers, ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm, but they are acoelomate, right. That means they possess no body cavity. They are bilaterally symmetrical. Dorso-ventrally compressed bodies they have. Dorso-ventrally compressed. Dorso-back, ventral front, compressed, right. So they are known as flatworms, right, because the body is dorso-ventrally compressed, so they are known as flatworms, right. So they are free living, they are also commensals, right, or endoparasite, chiefly in vertebrates including man, right. So they are may be present as a parasite in man as well, right. They show a blind sac body plan, right. So blind sac body plan means only one opening for ingestion and egestion both, right. They show tissue level grade of organization, that means tissues are formed, their body is soft, right. They are worms, so their body is soft. They are unsegmented worms. You remember we talked about metamerism, right. So these are unsegmented worms, and segmentation, if present, is not true segmentation, right? Pseudo segmentation, not true segmentation. Body cavity, of course, coelom is absent, they are lacking, so they are acoelomate. Other than that, when they are parasites, that means they, they have some adhesive structures to stick on to the host, because they are deriving some nutrition from the host, and without attaching to the host, they would not be able to derive any nutrition, right? So they have adhesive structures which are known as suckers or hooks, right? So they bear suckers or hooks for attachment to the host. So these suckers and hooks are generally present in the parasitic forms, right? Muscular system is there, right? Digestive system altogether is absent, or highly branched and incomplete without anus, right? Because already they are digesting, they are taking in digested food, they are just absorbing the digestive food. So the digestive system is not well developed. Skeletal, respiratory and circulatory system are absent in these. Excretory system includes a pair of tubules, right? So they have special tubules which are related to excretion, right? So they are known as protonephridia, right? So protonephridia are present as excretory. Protonephridia are present for excretory purpose, right? So that is present in that, and they are mostly hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite, bisexual, right? So they possess the male as well as the female sexual organs on one body. So planaria, liver fluke, blood fluke, right? Tapeworms, these are the examples of platyhelminths, right? We move on to the next phylum now, that is phylum Nematoda. Or they are also known as Aschelminths. Nematoda or Aschelminths. Phylum Nematoda or Aschelminths. Now they include unsegmented, triploblastic, pseudocoelomate, cylindrical, rounded, vermiform organisms. Now see, it includes unsegmented. I told you all these are worm-like structures. Unsegmented, that means no metamerism is found in the body, so the body is unsegmented. Their body is triploblastic, bearing 3 germ layers, right? They possess pseudocoelomate, false coelom. So they are pseudocoelomate, right? Possess false coelom, right? So up till now we have been talking about organisms which are acoelomate. So here it is pseudocoelomate. The body is cylindrical, right? Cylindrical body, they are rounded, vermiform, like worms, right? Vermiform organisms, and they have glistening surfaces, shining surfaces. Glistening surface, they have shiny surface and a tube within a tube body plan. Tube within a tube, right? That means they have one opening for ingestion and another opening for egestion, right? So okay, so that's about nematodes or Aschelminths, right? They are found in fresh as well as marine water, and they are also found in soil. They are also endoparasites in animals and plants, right? So that's about the nematodes. Digestive system is straight, tube-like with a terminal mouth and anus. At the two ends they are present. Circulatory and respiratory system are absent as such, and respiration takes place through the general body surface, right? Excretory system is simple, right? And nervous system includes a nerve ring, right? And anterior and posterior, above and below, there are nerve cords that are present which acts as sense organs, right? So that is about nematodes. Reproductive system is well developed and they are usually unisexual, right? So another different characteristics, they are usually unisexual. That means they show sexual dimorphism, right? Sexual dimorphism means male and female are separate, right? And that is visible. That is what a sexual dimorphism, right? Fertilization is internal and life cycle is complex. There are 4 larval stages, right? So you've heard of hookworm, right? So hookworm, roundworm, ascaris, right? Ascaris, you must have studied about ascaris, right? Roundworm, right? Hookworm, right? Voucheraria, that is filarial worm, right? That is also an example of nematodes, right? So please go through the characteristics of all these phylums and complete your assignment, and we will continue in the next class with phylum Annelida onwards. That's